Wow, you guys really love the Cheesecake Factory. Look at all these articles you sent us. Okay, so today we're diving deep into the Cheesecake Factory.
It's fascinating, right?
It is. It's cheesecake. It's massive menus.
Happy employees, surprisingly.
Yeah. And we're going to go way beyond just like a restaurant review. We're going to figure out why this place is so successful.
Yeah, how do they do it?
I know. They've got a 20-page menu, at least the ones I've been to.
Yeah, it's extensive.
And 250 items on it.
It's huge.
How do they manage to stay afloat, let alone thrive? I mean, it's crazy. So where do we even begin with a company like this? I think we got to start with the obvious.
Yeah, I think so too.
The cheesecake.
It's in the name. You can't talk about the Cheesecake Factory without talking about the cheesecake.
I know. I was reading about Evelyn Overton, right?
Yeah.
She started making these cheesecakes in her basement.
Back in the 40s.
Yeah, the 1940s, supplying to local restaurants.
And it kind of blew up from there.
It blew up.
I mean, it's crazy that 17.7% of their sales are from desserts.
That's a lot of cheesecake.
It is.
Dedicated bakeries, fresh strawberries.
Constantly innovating with new flavors.
All the time.
Mm.
Okay, but now let's talk about the person who actually brought this cheesecake empire to life. That would be Evelyn's son, David Overton, aspiring rock drummer turned law school dropout.
Turned CEO.
Turned restaurant mogul.
Yeah, that's quite a resume.
Quite a story.
Quite a story, yeah.
I was reading that he actually kind of stumbled into the restaurant business almost by accident.
There wasn't really like a master plan at first.
No. The first Cheesecake Factory I was reading, it was just good food.
And maybe a little bit of luck.
Luck. And then he was like, what if someone comes along and they have something that we don't have?
A little bit of paranoia about the competitors.
And so that's where that ever-expanding menu came from.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason, at least. I mean, he literally said, I just kept putting things on the menu that people seem to like.
Which brings us to the most iconic thing about the Cheesecake Factory.
I think so, yeah.
That menu. 20 pages, 250 items.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are a little intimidated by that menu.
Yeah, it's intimidating. I always need like 10 minutes just to figure out what section I want to be in. So what's the strategy behind this giant menu?
So I think one of the main strategies is to appeal to as wide of an audience as possible. You go out with a group of friends, a big family, everyone's going to find something that they like.
They minimize walkouts. Nobody's walking out of there because they couldn't find something they liked.
And then they also have the Skinnylicious menu. I mean, it's a nod toward, I guess, health-conscious diners, right?
Yeah, it's like, are they really into healthy eating, or is it just about appealing to the people who think they want to eat healthy?
Right. But it's there. The variety is there.
Yeah, it's there. And I've got to say, I always tell myself I'm going to get something Skinnylicious, but then I see the Louisiana chicken pasta and it's all over.
Yeah.
But I was reading, almost everything on the menu is made fresh to order.
Except for the cheesecakes, which come from those dedicated bakeries.
Oh, yeah, the cheesecakes.
Yeah.
Right, for the bakeries.
Over 900 ingredients are used in their kitchens.
Wow. Imagine the coordination.
Yeah, it's like a culinary symphony back there. It really is.
It is. And they managed to make it work.
It's kind of amazing.
It's pretty amazing. And this leads into what I think is fascinating. They basically created a whole new category in their restaurant industry. Upscale casual.
Yeah, they really did.
What do you think about upscale casual?
Yeah, it makes sense, right? It's kind of a step above your traditional chain restaurant. They use higher quality ingredients.
They do. And they have those big portions.
Those big portions.
The more refined atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like those dimly lit dining rooms.
The decor.
The decor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, you mentioned this earlier, strategic location choices. You find them near upscale malls.
Yeah. Affluent community.
You walk out of the mall, you want to eat.
Exactly.
You go right to the Cheesecake Factory.
And it's funny because, they're not just selling food, they're selling an experience.
Totally.
And it's working. People love it.
Yeah. Okay, this is something that I found really interesting. Employee satisfaction is a major factor in their success.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising, right?
I know. Happy employees at a chain restaurant.
You don't see that every day.
You don't. So they invest heavily in training. They offer competitive wages and benefits.
And they lease BMWs to their general managers.
BMWs.
They know.
Seriously.
It's amazing, right?
That's impressive. It's clearly not your typical restaurant job.
Definitely not. They're creating a really positive work environment, and they consistently rank on Fortune's 100 best companies to work for list.
That's amazing. So it makes you wonder, does having happy employees translate to better food and better service?
What do you think?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's got to play a role. I mean, if your employees are happy and feel valued, they're probably going to take more pride in their work. I mean, it's got to have some impact on the quality of the food and service.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
We talked about the cheesecake,
Obviously.
the mastermind behind it all, David Overton,
That crazy menu.
that crazy menu, and this surprising focus on employee happiness.
It's a lot to take in. But it's already clear there's a lot more to the Cheesecake Factory's success than meets the eye.
Yeah, there's definitely something special going on here.
Yeah.
And before we move on to the next part, I want to go back to the menu for a second because I'm still trying to wrap my head around how they manage a menu that big with fresh ingredients.
Right. How do they do it?
How?
It really is a logistical marvel.
Yeah, it's amazing. They've got systems in place.
I know. They have it down pat.
Each station dedicated to a specific part of the menu.
It's like a well-oiled machine in those
There's
kitchens.
got to be some serious training program.
Absolutely. It's like culinary boot camp.
Yeah.
They're not just cooking, they're prepping all these fresh ingredients, all these different dishes.
I can't imagine keeping track of all the recipes and ingredients.
Yeah, it's eye-boggling.
It's like conducting a culinary symphony.
It really is. You've got all these different parts coming together, perfectly timed,
Perfectly timed.
But it all works,
Yeah.
and they're not sacrificing quality for efficiency.
And you can taste it.
Absolutely. That's a big part of what justifies their higher prices, too.
Totally. Yeah. You're paying for an experience.
It's a step above the average casual dining chain.
It's like they bridged the gap between casual dining and fine dining.
Yeah.
It's like a hybrid. And it seems to be resonating with a lot of people.
It's working.
It's working. I mean, they've been around for decades.
Yeah, and they're still going strong.
And they weathered economic downturns,
yeah.
changing culinary trends,
Endemic.
a pandemic.
It's incredible.
It's really incredible. So what do you think is the key ingredient, the secret sauce?
Yeah.
What's making the Cheesecake Factory so successful?
That's a tough one. I don't know. It's tough to pinpoint just one thing. It's the food, it's the atmosphere, it's the service.
It's the cheesecake.
Oh, yeah. And it's the cheesecake. But if I had to choose one thing that really stands out, I think it's their commitment to creating a really memorable experience for their customers.
I think you're right. It's more than just a meal. It's an event. It's a place to celebrate,
To indulge.
to connect.
And they've managed to maintain that, which is pretty incredible. I mean, the world of dining is pretty fickle. Trends change.
Yeah. Okay, so we've explored their origins. We talked about the business strategies, their employee-centric approach, and their accidental marketing, which we'll get into more later, right?
Oh, yeah.
And their ability to create a truly memorable dining experience. What else is there to uncover?
Well, one thing we haven't talked about yet is their global expansion. I mean, they have opened up restaurants in several countries now, all over the world.
So it's not just an American phenomenon.
It's becoming global.
It's interesting to think about how they're adapting the menu, the concept, to these different cultures.
Yeah. I mean, how do they keep things consistent,
Yeah.
And do they adapt to local tastes? I mean, how do they even manage the logistics of operating in so many different countries? It's a whole other layer of complexity.
It is. Maybe that deserves its own deep dive.
What do you so? Maybe someday.
But for now, let's wrap up our deep dive on the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we learned about their humble beginnings, their unconventional CEO, that massive menu,
Those happy employees.
those happy employees, their accidental rise to pop culture fame, and we've uncovered some of the secrets behind their success.
Yeah, their focus on quality, the experience, the commitment to their employees and customers.
It's amazing what you can learn when you take a deep dive into something seemingly ordinary.
Right.
And you know what? I'm actually craving cheesecake right now.
Oh, me too. I mean, all those descriptions, they were pretty tempting.
But before we all rush out to the Cheesecake Factory, we want to hear from you. What surprised you most about this deep dive?
Yeah. What are your favorite things about the Cheesecake Factory? Tell us in the comments.
Yeah. And if you've never been to the Cheesecake Factory, maybe this deep dive has inspired you to go.
Just be prepared for that menu, though. It can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I always tell people to go in with a strategy, maybe browse it online beforehand or pick a section and stick to it.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Or, you know what?
What?
Just embrace the chaos. Order whatever jumps out at you.
Yeah, why not? That's part of the fun.
That's a great note to end on. Embrace the chaos, just like the Cheesecake Factory itself.
They've got that perfect blend of familiarity and surprise, right?
Yeah.
You kind of know what to expect, but there's always something new to discover.
It's like a culinary adventure.
Totally.
And they've made it accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've successfully unpacked the phenomenon that is the Cheesecake Factory.
From those humble beginnings to pop culture stardom, it's really impressive.
And they've done it by focusing on quality, the experience, and surprisingly, employee satisfaction.
It's pretty inspiring, actually.
It is. And it reminds us that success in any industry often comes down to the fundamentals.
Yeah?
A great product, a memorable experience, and a team that's totally invested in your vision.
Well said.
And on that note, we want to thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Cheesecake Factory.
We'll see you in the next one.
As always, subscribe to our channel, like the video, and comment below. There are also some links in our description that you may find useful. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.